Hello to anyone who's watching. This is me setting up a stream/video to be uploaded later. Playing some Temur Clover. Right now I'm riding a 20-win streak on the standard ladder. It's felt pretty good. But haven't been playing much. I actually just moved to a new city. So I've been out of commission for a little while, besides a couple of matches. Managed to win the last one despite the Fae of Wishes bug, which fortunately was hotfixed. And so now we're playing Temur Clover again, now that the funnest card in the deck is working properly. Let's see if we can clean up some matches here and get back to number one. Hello to everyone who's joined us so far. Good to have you on the stream. May not be doing too much chat interaction since I'm still without a second monitor at my new place, but at least between games we'll be checking in, maybe from time to time if the opponent takes a little while to make a decision. Does look like we're lagging a little bit. I might dump the resolution a smidge and see if that helps. Let's see. All right, and this hand is totally serviceable. It's got all the colors, got some spells. I'll keep almost every hand that looks like that. Okay, hoping that this is not Wilderness Reclamation, since it's my least favorite matchup in the meta right now. Blue-green ramp, these Lovestruck Beasts will do a pretty reasonable job. Okay, looks like some kind of ramp deck then. And Lucky Glove's a great draw, just gonna slap that one right down. Double Fae of Wishes on turn 4 should be pretty powerful, given that we're going to be able to hold the ground with these Lovestruck Beasts for a little bit. Hopefully can stop Nissa before she goes too crazy. Okay, looks like it's the Sultai Uro deck I've been seeing a lot of lately. This will be interesting. So they're going to have Casualties of War open. But fortunately, pressuring this Tamiyo is very possible for us, and they haven't hit anything good into the graveyard yet. So just going to play some red mana out, play a Lovestruck Beast. See if we can keep Tamiyo down a little bit. Right now, they're not seeing a second Black Source. If they don't have a Death Sprout, that would be lovely. And if they don't Casualties us on 5, casting this Escape to the Wild is going to be really sick. So let's see what happens. Definitely not a matchup that I love. It's not super comfortable. This is a good card. Casualties of War is a good card. But I feel like this position's okay for now. Hey there, SoulC159. I am indeed back. I'll finish with the move. Pretty short stream tonight, but hoping to keep the streak going. Wow, that's a lot of Hydro Crisis to hit off that Tamiyo. Nice work, opponent. Fortunately, Hydro Crisis isn't that good against us right now, but it is that was definitely a heck of a +1. Let's see what happens to me now. Are we getting Nissa'd? We get Nissa'd and we can't hit a Borrower or a Bone Crusher Giant. This is not going to be easy. Death Sprout's also kind of annoying here. Now at least we have the interesting choice of what we're Faying for, or whether I'm just casting double token into Lovestruck Beast. It might just be double token into Lovestruck Beast. Shadow Spear is actually kind of sick for attacking through Crisis, though. Let's see. Yeah, this feels like it's just double token Lovestruck Beast. What is this Tamiyo going to be able to fetch back? She can get back Death Sprout. You can get back Liliana, but that's not a threat. Casualties of War is a little annoying if it comes out here. But not much I can do about Casualties of War. I think I just want to put some threats on the board here. Yeah, I do think Death Sprout is a really good card. I played the Sultai deck and it felt terrible. I think I was running into the wrong matchups or something, but there is really something to a ramp deck that can ramp while it interacts. That's a powerful thing to be able to do. And Tamiyo's loyalty is pretty annoyingly high for this deck. If we don't have a Bone Crusher or a Borrower, he is not that easy to take off the table. But all I'm hoping now is that all they can do is drop a Crisis or something on me. This land is pretty promising. It'd be an awfully odd time to play Casualties of War if that was their plan here, because it lets me just kill Tamiyo. Although who knows, maybe that's exactly what they're doing. I am okay getting casualtied if it means I get to kill this Tamiyo. It does look like we are getting casualtied. Okay, sure. Annoying, I don't like it, but if I can hit another land drop in the next turn or so and just kill this Tamiyo. Oh, Gilded Goose. Okay, that does not save Tamiyo, though. That's fine. Let's see. Bone Crusher's interesting here. What am I doing? I feel like I just want to clear out the Goose to keep them off of the Mana Cast Shadow Spear. Not a great position, but if they don't have another Casualties as backup, I'm not that scared of the Crisis at the moment. I'd say we're definitely behind, though. It's not my favorite position to be in. Hey! Thanks for the follow. Whoever that was, didn't see the following notification. Looks like it was Duddy Finger. Thanks, Duddy Finger, for the follow. We're getting kind of clobbered here by a pretty darn good Sultai start, but We'll see what happens. Certainly this matchup gets better once you bring in some Ether Gusts and have a reasonable answer to Casualties of War. And if we had a land drop next turn, I'm still feeling okay, although not great. Yeah, I'm actually curious. Tamio is an interesting card here. Are we getting Casualtied again? Huh. Yeah, Casualties again is going to be a little too much for us here. I think we're probably not going to get away with this one. Shadow Spear looking kind of embarrassing there compared to Incubation, notably. That's the card I'm testing it over right now. It was pretty bad. Okay, we hit a Breeding Pool. Is it worth continuing here after that Casualties? I suppose so. What can Fae of Wishes get for me that's interesting? Unfortunately, I don't have any red sources. I can get once in future, though. That's kind of reasonable. Let's get once in future here. And then get Casualty the third time, of course, but we're going to try it out anyway. Or at least another turn, see how it goes. If they drop a Nissa, I'm dead. Not going to play through a Nissa with this one, but we'll see. Okay, just a large Crisis. That's okay. Not ideal, but okay. Alright, Temple Epiphany is kind of nice. Well, it's medium. Let's see what I'm going to hit off that. I would love Brazen Borrower here. I'm going to need a Brazen Borrower to get back in this game. In fact, I need one so much that I think Edgewell Innkeeper not being a Brazen Borrower is cause for saying no to Edgewell Innkeeper at the moment. I'm just going to once in future grabbing back. Technically, there's no reason to do this on my main phase because the opponent can shouldn't have counters, but I guess you never know about that kind of thing. I'm just going to get Clover plus... I wonder if I want Shadow Spear to try and stay alive a bit longer against Crazies, or if I just want another land drop. Interesting. If their play next turn is Nissa, Lovestruck Beast can keep me alive against Nissa. It's very likely their play next turn is just going to be Hydroid Crisis. Let's grab... Grab... Stomping Ground here. There's a chance if I draw Brazen Borrower next turn, I'm just going to want to play Clover Borrower, which means I'm going to want to hit a land drop as well. So I'm just going to take these back. Again, I think our chance of winning are like 1% here, but I'm going to play out it for one more turn just to see what happens. If I do draw exactly Brazen Borrower, there's still a chance. Interesting. Pelucranos, that's fine, I think. Okay. So Pelucranos doesn't really change the Brazen Borrower winning the game equation, or not winning the game, but Brazen Borrower saving us equation. We have drawn 0 of them so far. That's escaped the wilds. Let's see. So facing down... So I need to escape the wilds into like 2 lands and a Borrower for the Crisis here to get by, and then possibly can beat Pelucranos if they don't Ritual of Sit me. Oh, darn. Well, almost got there. Needed some untapped blue mana, though, for the Borrower, and I couldn't have played the Stomping Ground and left blue untapped because that would put me to 4, and then Pelucranos could just double fight, kill me. So that's going to do it. And let's bring in some Ether Gust and be on the play for game 2. I have not liked the Sultai matchup. I think I only have one actual loss to it, but it's not a fun deck to play against. Casualties of War is a heck of a Magic card. Alright, so Shadow Spear against the Casualties deck seems really bad. I don't like it at all. Fae of Wishes usually drops to a 3 of in this kind of matchup because it's not a good blocker, and one of the main things we're wishing for is Ether Gust, and I already have Ether Gusts right here. Come on, don't lag too much, Arena. Don't lag so much, Arena. Wow, Arena is lagging a lot here, but I am able to bring out 1 Fae of Wishes. Bring in the last Ether Gust here. And I'm bringing in all 3 Ether Gusts and leaving none to wish for because we can usually wish for Domery's Ambush to take out Nissa if we have to. I'd rather just make sure I'm keeping their Nissas and their cameos and their Casualties of Wars off curve here. And we'll roll it like this. There's some idea to bring in the 4th Escape to the Wilds, but I think we're going to be a little more aggressive in this game usually. I don't know. A lot of the sideboarding plans of this deck are tentative because our sideboard is weird. Okay, this hand is terrible. Unfortunately, I can't keep double Borrower and no blue mana. That's not a promising start. Okay, this hand's pretty reasonable, though. I'm going to keep it, and gonna dump a Borrower here. I like keeping the lands around because Fae of Wishes being doubled by Lucky Clover is one key way for us to get into the game here. I think Brazen Bar or aggro is not likely to be the thing that finishes off the opponent. So I'm going to keep this. Hope to rip a Beanstalk Giant to Fae of Wishes, something like that. Even an Edgewelling Keeper is going to be pretty good later in the game here. Also hoping they don't have a Return to Nature or something like that to clear out the Clover on an early turn. Aether Gust is nice. But I'm not going to cast that one just yet. They don't have anything really scary on turn 2 that I don't have to worry about. I'm just going to play out the Clover. This way maybe I can hold up Aether Gust plus double Giant or something for turn 3. Brazen Bar was much better against this deck than the usual Simic Ramp decks, I think, because they play so many permanents that don't add much value to the board. Oh, and now I have the interesting option of dropping a second Clover or holding something up, like an Aether Gust. And I'm definitely in for second Clover here. I think with a Mulligan in this game, I'm just going to be trying to make the most powerful plays I can. They don't have any way to remove multiple Clovers from the game. And this means that if they play like a Tameo and plus it, I can just kill it with a Bone Crusher Giant, which is pretty satisfying. Also, if I draw Beanstalk Giant now, we just go into Turbo Overdrive here. But I will say that this is not like an easy position to be playing from. We're going to need the deck to be a little bit good to us at this position, in this position. Fourth land's not bad. Gives me a couple of options. It means I can double or triple Bone Crusher plus Aether Gust to play, for example. Nissa plus Mystical Dispute would be a little annoying, but I can just kill Nissa with Bone Crusher, which is okay as well. Hydroid Krasis. Alright, that one's fine, I suppose. That one I can just stomp pretty hard, and I am going to stomp it down pretty hard. Just make sure that if I draw a land next turn, I can cast Bone Crusher Giant and hold up an Aether Gust for something down the line. Get a little bit of pressure going. Still looking for Beanstalk Giant is by far the best draw on the deck. Fae of Wishes would also be pretty solid, although hard to use temporarily. Land drops are also perfectly fine. Okay, Breeding Pool's nice. Just going to play that one out. Bone Crusher, hope I can Aether Gust something for tempo, and then maybe rip an Escape to the Wilds or a Beanstalk Giant, or even another Bone Crusher is really good with 2 Clovers in play as far as trying to close the game out goes. One could easily have Mystical Dispute up at this point. But we're going to at least make him have it. Okay, smells like the opponent's selecting some targets. Let's see if we get Mystical Disputed here. If we get Mystical Disputed, this is going to be tough. Casualties of War is definitely a solid card against us. They're definitely holding up some blue there. Am I getting disputed? Oh yeah, no. Wow, I really thought I was getting disputed. Okay. Well, that's cool. Gilded Goose is less cool because it means it's going to be harder to kill them quickly, but... Alright, Temple of Epiphany is nice. At this point, I'm just really looking to get a Scry going for Escape to the Wilds, I think. Let's see. I can't triple borrow because I don't have any, enough targets, and I really would like to keep this creature alive. Okay, getting to bottom of forest is really good. One reason I like Skylands over Fabled Passage is you often really have something you're looking for to complete your picture, whether it's interaction or something else reasonable. All right, the opponent's 12 here seems pretty reasonable. It's also possible against decks like Casualties of War decks, where they're just trying to kind of play this resource grind you out game. I should probably be running the 4th Escape to the Wilds in here somewhere. It's bad against Aether Gust, to be sure, but it's just such a nice card to resolve after they tap low to do something like a Casualties of War. Okay, they're going to shoot my stuff down, ping me. I'm going to go ahead and let these resolve. I am going to tap this for some blue mana here. Let this resolve. Now that I have 1 Clover, I can double bounce pretty safely. Please get rid of the food token and the goose. They might be able to just crack the food, but at least we're getting the goose off the board temporarily. And of course, we're going to target the goose with the borrow bounce here. Oh no! Oh, Arena! Arena tapped the wrong land. Okay. That's an interesting auto-tapper situation. I wonder if there's something... Oh, and my opponent sacks the food in response because I'm being an idiot. Never mind. Yeah, so this is me definitely being very rusty, both with the auto-tapper and the Brazen Borrower play. So I'm just playing very poorly here, but can still get back in the game with Escape to the Wilds. We'll see. I doubt it was going to matter given the number of cards the opponent has in hand, and the fact that we kind of mulliganed into a start with no card advantage. You can see lots of micro mistakes I'm making here as well. I definitely should have the 4th Escape to the Wilds in the deck. Getting casualtied again. That's not much fun. Now we're out of green mana, so we're almost dead here. Opponent just has drawn ferociously well in both these games in terms of having double early casualties. But, I mean, that's the kind of thing the deck is designed to do. I don't see how they have a great time against blue-white control, but very good at casting expensive spells against decks with no counters, which is one of the weaknesses of Clover. One of the reasons it has a hard time with Temur Reclamation. Okay, I'm going to give him a Find versus 2 mystery cards, I think. I don't really care about the other stuff here. Find Finality is an interesting one for this deck. I wonder if it's a sideboard plan against us. Reasonable enough, I guess, if you want an expensive Wrath, which sometimes you do. Pretty much Escape the Wilds is the only card that matters for us. Wonder if they have a third Casualties. They're holding something up here. Find back just the one Crisis, makes sense. Alright, so I think I'm on Escape the Wilds or bust here. Maybe if Temple reveals Escape the Wilds. Lucky Clover, okay. Given the opponent has how much mana now? Yeah, I'm gonna scoop to this one. I don't think I'm beating the Crisis into Atris play here, and I'd rather play exciting games for y'all on the stream. Possibly matches that have a better chance of shooting me back to number 1 here. Ouch, number 3. Alright, well, streak comes to an end. Made a small misplay, didn't matter really at all. Just too many fast Casualties of War there, and the opening hands were not strong enough. I do notice that Shadow Spear in that first game was resoundingly unimpressive. I think people have been saying it's good against Mono Red and stuff, but I think this deck is already good against Mono Red, and I kind of do like the way that Incubation just increases the odds that we go for like a Beanstalk Giant with Clovers out, which is pretty much the deck's major selling point. Yeah, normal Trent, what Payhone says there is correct. This deck brought in a few Theros cards for the sideboard, which do make it a little better. Ouch, this hand is pretty terrible. All the luck in that 20-win streak is coming out now. All right, keeping this Shadow Spear looking kind of mediocre. I think even though I have these 2 red cards and no red mana yet, I'm just going to bottom Shadow Spear. I think the only way I really realistically win this game is to draw some red mana, and if I do draw red mana, these other 2 cards are much better than Shadow Spear. In fact, I might go back to Incubation after this game. Shadow Spear is an interesting one to test, but yeah, see, even against this start, it's not like Shadow Spear is going to do much good. What am I going to do? Put it on a Brazen Borrower and then get the Brazen Borrower Bone Crushed or Shocked or something? I'd much rather just have another creature or even Incubation that can go fetch me like a Beanstalk Giant or something here. Not going to bounce the Scorch Spitter pre-combat. I think there's a chance that I'm letting them turn on something like Actually, it's an interesting question. It would be nice if they didn't have Light Up the Stage here. It would also be nice if I could bounce a Steamkin. I think I'm into Petty Theft. It's a close call. Often I wouldn't mind if it was just playing the Light Up the Stage on turn 2. But we'll see. It looks like they might not actually have had a turn 2. Oh, yep, okay. Well, that worked out well. And now I'm definitely just going to ping down the Scorch Spitter before they can Infuriate it, potentially. Just trying to turn off their damage sources in the early game. And now things are looking pretty good, because they kept the greedy Mono Red hand. Didn't know it was for sure what they were doing, but got a little bit lucky, guessed correctly. Not sure I'd run that play again in an alternate universe. Alright, they have their interaction down now, but it doesn't matter too much. Just gonna fire off a blocker. I think it's they can't easily get in with Light Up the Stage here, unless they have another land. Okay, and even if this is like Infuriate or Shock or something, I honestly don't care. I'm pretty happy just getting this creature off the board and casting Escape the Wilds. Sure. Alright, yeah, this is one of several reasons I don't play Mono Red. I just can't conceive of like having hands with one land and being like, I should keep this. This is a pretty good hand, and then watching this kind of thing happen. Just yep, okay. Oh, these scoops nice and early. That's good. Well, this is a matchup that is much, much, much better than Sultai Ramp, because we just get to bring in a bunch of cards that are great against them, and all of our other cards are also pretty great against them. So we're going to cut the Escape to Wilds because they're a bit too slow most of the time. Cut a Beanstalk Giant, at least one Beanstalk Giant, because it's kind of a slow, clumsy card. When we're running Incubation, we sometimes cut Incubation, but now that it's Shadow Spear, I guess I'll keep it in, see how it plays. Still not sure about it. It feels like it might be a little slow. Its main role in this matchup, I find, is to stop you from getting burned out in a long game when you've already got control of the board. But given that we cast Fey, which is for 2 mana most of the time, it doesn't hurt to have one in. And I think I'll just keep the list this way. Sometimes I will cut a second Beanstalk Giant for another piece of interaction. Either a Storm's Wrath or a Dormer's Ambush, just a little more stuff that's cheap and interactive to bring in, give us a little bit more of a chance of surviving long. Interesting. Actually, yeah, the problem with Storm's Wrath is that with only 2 Beanstalk Giant in the deck, you're suddenly going down to kind of a paltry number of red sources to cast this double red spell, which can make things difficult. Yeah, I'll try Beanstalk Giant out, Zomri's Ambush in, but it is a close call. Having the Beanstalk Giants really is nice to pull off some broken draws with Clover. And Zomri's Ambush is not that great as a 2-mana removal spell, but it's something I'm testing. I guess I actually need to revise this title. I'm just going to say Temur Clover, fighting for rank 1, no longer can brag about 20 straight wins, because the thing happens that happens to people to brag, which is we get smashed. Alright, this hand is painful, but I'm definitely going to keep it. Zomri's Ambush, super awkward with Bone Crusher Giant, I will admit, but having double Bone Crusher is pretty great. This Lovestruck Beast is also a really nice draw. What I would really love more than anything else is just a nice basic land here, but I am okay setting up blocks and kills for their first few attackers. This mono red deck is great at burst damage with Embercleave, but doesn't have that much burn, so I don't mind taking a bunch of damage as long as I can control the board early. Looks like they might have kept another light up the stage style hand, where they're just trying to trade off the Scorched Bitter early. Nope, just a Steamkin. Alright, we're going to kill that. Okay, another Lovestruck Beast, not so bad. There's an interesting question of whether I should play Stomping Ground versus Steam Vents this turn. Because having Stomping Ground out lets me go like Innkeeper plus Heart's Desire plus play a tap land next turn. It also broadens the number of draws where I can just go land, Heart's Desire, Domer's Ambush, something. So in fact, I am just going to play out the Stomping Ground and stomp the Steamkin here. I think even if I drew a Brazen Borrower next turn, it's hard to think of too many reasons I'd want to play it. I guess unless they played Anax. We'll see. And even Anax gets blocked pretty well by Lovestruck Beast here. Okay, that's who it is. Sure. Okay, got the island. Cool. So I'm just going to play out my 5/5, I guess. I don't mind trading Lovestruck Beast with Anax, even if they have some red devotion here. And Lovestruck Beast is the best card for me to have on board with a Domer's Ambush available. Okay, small critters coming out. Anax getting a little big. But it's just the unblockable 10 Street coming in, that's totally fine. Okay, so what happens basically every time you're playing this matchup is that as time goes on, you start thinking about how do I beat Embercleave? It's pretty much the only relevant question that happens, in fact. And fortunately, I'm actually in a really good position to beat Embercleave here because I get to kill Anax and then have Bone Crusher Giant up for whatever they try to cleave. And I think that's what I'm going to do this turn. It does mean taking more damage off this land. It does mean they get to chip in with a bunch of little creatures. But I think what I'd prefer doing is just making sure they don't get down a safe Embercleave. For example, if I kill Anax, they make 2 tokens, they attack with 4 creatures and get to cleave one of them. I really want to knock it hit for 4 damage here. And Bone Crusher is not going to be a dead card pretty much no matter what happens. So we're just going to do this, counter on the beast, kill off the Anax here, making sure I'm doing this in the right order. I am. Good. Anax making 2 tokens is annoying, but their deck does not have a lot of burn, so as long as I can keep Embercleave down, I feel like I'm going to be pretty safe. Castle Embereth would also be pretty good. But it's gonna, if it's occupying their whole turn, I can live with that. I guess Torbrand is the thing I'm really scared of now. If they go land Torbrand, I'm gonna be pretty sad. But it's just another Anax, which is fine, I guess. In response to that, I'm just gonna shock the Dodger here before they get a counter off of it. It's hard to think of this Bone Crusher Giant being too useful for anything else. It's not gonna be able to kill Anax if they put a cleave on it. So yeah, let's just get rid of one of their sources of red devotion, the one that's unblockable. Second Anax is kind of annoying. It is going to be very good with Embercleave if they can pull one out. But I have a bunch of Either Gust and Brazen Borrower in my deck I could draw here. That would be pretty good. Hey, a Brazen Borrower. Just right on schedule. Okay. So now the play is just going to be make a token. Make an Innkeeper. I don't mind putting out Innkeeper into like Bone Crusher Shock if they want to spend a card on killing this. It's fine. The priority is always just don't get Embercleaved. And if they don't Embercleave me now, I just get to bounce Anax at the end of their turn, which stops them from having a good Embercleave target for 2 turns and gives me plenty of time to draw a bunch of cards with this Innkeeper, and hopefully hit some more interaction. So it's going to be a delicate dance you see here, but we're going to have fun with it. Let's see what they go for. We're obviously representing Brazen Borrower or Aether Gust here, so I don't expect we're going to actually get to do anything fun. But it's not like they have a lot of options for what they can do with their turn here. Let's see. Alright, they're just going for it. Makes sense. I respect that. So clearly just going to block Anax to kill it. Even if they have Infuriate, we can just bounce the Anax in response to that, maybe. And going to block off one of the Satyr tokens. Take 2 from the other folks. They can cleave for 2 mana. But that's okay. I just get to bounce whatever they're putting the cleave on, even if I can't bounce. If I could bounce the cleave, but they would, of course, get to have 4 attacking creatures and bring it back. So instead, we're just going to bounce whatever the cleave goes on to, which lets me kill the Anax, which is nice. Okay. So Anax disappears. Gonna stop him from having something good to put the cleave on for a little while. And I think they play land this turn, which means Anax definitely isn't coming back. And that gives me time to like Fae of Wishes for an answer to cleave if I really want to next turn. But we'll see what happens. I might just play another 5/5, which may stall them well enough. Lovestruck Beast being a 6/6 is also pretty nice against any potential Infuriates they might have. And okay, Innkeeper gets shocked, but that's great. That's the rest of their hand, which means we have a couple turns of freedom here. Another Innkeeper is nice. So now we have some options. I could either play Innkeeper and Lovestruck Beast, just put a bunch of toughness on the board, draw another card. Or I could Fae of Wishes for an answer to Embercleave. Just grab a Return to Nature and shut down the opponent's potential next turn. If I play Innkeeper and then play Lovestruck Beast, they get to play Anax next turn. Anax is going to be a 5/3. If they then equip Anax with Embercleave, it gets to be a 6/4, which can punch through 2 Lovestruck Beasts, no problem. That's kind of scary. On the other hand, if I draw a land in my next 2 draw steps, and it's untapped, I can Fae of Wishes for Mystic Repeal and just get rid of Anax. I could also draw one of my 3 Aether Gust, or one of my 3 Brazen Borrowers, or a Great Henge, which would probably just put me far enough ahead, even through double Ember getting beaten down by Anax, that'd be fine. Question is, how do I get really punished if I just play out the Fae of Wishes draw here? They're not going to be able to attack very well with Favorite Champion, so I think the play is actually just to do this. It's going to seem a little weird, it's going to seem slow, but I'm not really taking a bunch of damage here. I just want to get rid of that Embercleave. So I am going to pick up Return to Nature. I could pick up Mystic Repeal to bounce Anax, but there's a chance they just like cast a Bone Crusher Giant next turn. It's just a good target for Cleave as well. So I'm just going to do this. If I draw a land next turn, I can go Innkeeper into Fae of Wishes, draw a card. Be in a pretty reasonable spot. There's also the risk that they draw another Embercleave, in which case Mystic Repeal would have been a better pickup. But Aether Gust is really good here. So now I'm going to play out just the... I'm actually just going to play out Fae of Wishes here. I could play out Innkeeper, but I can't. I want to leave at least one interactive spell. Specifically, I want to leave up Aether Gust, because it lets me take out Anax instead of Embercleave during combat, which is key in case they have another Embercleave. I love the Aether Gust as a surprise draw here. That was a pretty good one off the top for me. Dantes, you can find the deck list at the top of the chat here. Let me repost it real quick. Stream Decker has not been functional for me at all, so let me just throw that in here. Hey, the edit didn't take. Oops. Let's see. All right, so the opponent is playing a Steamkin. Okay, they're just casting all their spells. I like it when they cast all their spells pre-combat. That's cool. Pretty into that. Huh, well this means they can't stop Return to Nature. They don't even really have a good attack this turn no matter what they do. So I get to save this Aether Gust for later, which is pretty fantastic. They're going to equip Anax anyway, and I assume just swing in with it. Well, if they swing with it, I just kill the Cleave and block Anax, which is fine. Not sure they really have a good play from here. And note that even though it was pretty lucky that we didn't draw too many lands here, if I had drawn a land, I would have had that option I talked about earlier where I could have gone play the Innkeeper out safely earlier and then just grabbed an answer to the Cleave with the Fae of Wishes, or an answer to the Anax with the Fae of Wishes. Ooh, I just realized that Domer's Ambush being a counter Lovestruck Beast lets me cast Great Henge for cheap, which is super sweet. I like that a lot. Gonna play this out, and then this is gonna be a play that might be surprising, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it here. I'm gonna cast Edgewall Innkeeper first. So I could just cast a Bone Crusher Giant or a Lovestruck Beast, make a 6/6 again. I think I'm still scared of those Embercleave. I would really not like it if all my Lovestruck Beasts got wiped out. Actually, so what I was thinking was I was Edgewall Innkeepering and then Aether Gusting the Anax, which keeps my opponent off having another good card for a while, because they either have to redraw Anax or draw some Mystery card off the top, which isn't going to matter. I can also just play this 6/6. If they get an Embercleave, Anax comes in as a 7/5. I can double lock with Lovestruck Beasts, still get hurt a bunch. Interesting. Actually, Lovestruck Beast should be pretty safe. I think even Embercleave taking out my 2 Lovestruck Beasts and even a bunch of creatures fails in response to me just casting Edgewall Innkeeper next turn. So I'm just going to do this. Save the Aether Gust for another time. Land drops are great at this point. And just wait. Even if they find another Embercleave, I live through it, and I can't think of anything else besides maybe Torbrand that'd be great here. And Torbrand is far from game over, and now the game is over for them. They can't possibly win from this position. We just have too much stuff set up against them. And eventually we'll just get Fae of Wishes and wish for Shadow Spear or something and put the game to a close. Okay, Bone Crusher's neat. Not even going to bother with it. Good game opponent, I agree. Yep. Okay. Mono Red. Very, very good matchup for this deck. And still at rank 3 after beating 39, which kind of stinks, but all we can do is get in and play a couple more matches here. And of course, if anybody watching the stream has questions about Temur Clover, I might not be reading the chat too frequently as I play, but happy to try and answer questions whenever I get the chance to see them. Been playing with this deck probably more than anyone else in the world. I'm up to like 600 ranked matches at this point or something. And I've seen pretty much everything it's possible to see. And you see a lot of weird stuff given the long, grindy games this deck can play. Hope we get one or two of those on the stream, by the way. So far, they've all been quick and dirty affairs one way or the other. It's interesting to think about in that last game. Would Shadow Spear have been helpful at any point? I think the answer is not really. That Mono Red deck, thanks to Embercleave, can just output so much more damage back at you than you can throw at them, than you can game with Shadow Spear, even in pretty good circumstances. Okay, this hand is totally reasonable. Gonna keep it. We got all of our colors, we got some spells. Pretty hard to throw away hands as long as those things are true. Ooh, and this looks like the sweet Theros game board that I've been hearing about. It really does look pretty good. Okay, looks like Mono Red again. Or, oh, Red Black Sack maybe? Either way, that's fine. So, some question about whether to play Fae of Wishes or do hold up Brazen Borrower this turn. Question is, are we going to be able to wish with this safely and get something that matters? It's possible. Brazen Borrower might slow our opponent down enough that I can like spare some time to Fae of Wishes for a Storm's Wrath or something like that. So I think I'm down just to hold up a bounce and see what happens. It's close, but I think this card has just enough potential value that I don't want to throw it down as a blocker just yet. If we just get light up the stage or whatever here, I'll feel a bit silly, but that's okay. I can live with feeling a bit silly. And light up the stage is not a great card on turn 2 anyway. Okay, they hit 2 lands, so it's actually a pretty good light up the stage for them. But sure, Grim Initiate comes down. So now we again face the question, do we borrow something now? I think at this point, I'm pretty cool just taking my turn here. Because I just definitely want to cast Fae of Wishes as a blocker. We drew another Fae of Wishes, makes that decision easier. And if I happen to hit a Lucky Clover at some point, I can now Clover into Double Borrower, which is pretty good. Gonna bottom that land, don't have much use for it. Play out a 1/4, see if my opponent can punch past it. 1/4 blockers are pretty good. And now if they play something scary like an Anax or a Mayhem Devil or something, we can bounce it, hold them back for a turn, and just get to the point where we can escape to the wild safely. And next turn we can even just cast another Fae of Wishes and then hold a Brazen Borrower bounce, because this escape to the wilds is probably going to give us another card advantage. This feels like probably another layup the stage. It could be an Infuriate. I don't hate trading Fae for Infuriate if they want to do that. In fact, if this was Infuriate, they would have attacked with both creatures. So that's probably not what it is. Could be just trading Footlight Fiend to end shock for Fae of Wishes, which is, I am okay with my 2 mana 2-for-1. Okay. Yep, that is totally fine. Fae of Wishes is just outstanding against these red decks. I love to see it. Okay. So interesting choice about what land to play. Part of me just wants to cast Fae of Wishes, honestly, and just play a tap land or something. Because it's hard to think of what they could play that would scare me. Even Torbrand doesn't let them attack past next turn. It's hard to think of what I'd want to Brazen Borrower. But playing a shock land kind of forces me to play another shock land next turn so I can escape the wilds. The good side of this is that if they do play a Torbrand or something, getting to Brazen Borrower at the end of their turn and have a Fae of Wishes on board, it makes it much safer to escape the wilds. And I think that consideration is going to lead me in this direction. It's a tough call. And I'm not sure whether this is the right play, but I think my life total is high enough right now that I can afford to just be a little bit greedy with playing a bunch of spells. Hope they don't go Swamp Drill Bit or something. That would be awkward. X-Sang Wow, I will absolutely watch videos you make of this deck. I love watching people play Temur Clover. Okay, so Legion Warboss is coming down. This one is going to get a bounce back to their hand before they untap, so always make sure to turn on this main phase trigger in response to something like Legion Warboss. Goodbye, sir. Not today. Adios. And it looks like the opponent's not going to have any good attacks this turn, because Fae of Wishes is absurd. Okay, Edgewall Innkeeper is interesting. So that opens the possibility of just playing like Temple of Mystery Innkeeper Borrower. I will note that Escape the Wilds is a much better card if you play it with 5 lands and play having not made a land drop, because it lets you go like land, bounce or stomp something, and that's pretty tempting. Legion Warboss is also not too scary to hard to face next turn, and then Temple of Mystery lets me dig for a Bonecrusher Giant, which would be really good. So, tough call. I think I'm pretty into the Innkeeper option here, actually, and just like seeing what this Temple of Mystery can help me find. Don't want a Forest at this point. Just looking for interaction with Legion Warboss, I think. Cast Stitch Innkeeper. And not really any reason to play out Borrow right now. I'm just going to hold up some mana. And wait. Okay, it's nice that they give me the chance to hold this main phase with something in play here. So they're going to go in with Grim-Initiate and the token. Okay, so from here I'm just going to block the token. Block the Grim-Initiate just puts another creature on the board. I don't see how I'd want to do that. I'm just going to keep the board smaller. At this point, Lovestruck Beast would be a really fantastic hit off Escape the Wilds. Bonecrusher Giant still great. Light up the stage, sure. Okay, so they've been really good at hitting the land drops off these light up the stages. We're getting shocked. Sure, Innkeeper dies, but it's another 2-for-1 because I get to draw a card off this Brazen Borrower. Island's not bad. Getting to play a pain-free land next turn with Escape the Wilds is pretty cool. But I could use some more spells. Let's go with this. The good news is whatever spells I hit, if they're 2 mana, I can play them. And oh look, it's Bonecrusher Giant. Perfect. So we're just going to go Stomping Ground, go to 14. Island, Stomp. And there's some question of whether I want to attack with Brazen Bar or not. They could have a Phoenix in their deck somewhere. And if they play like Land Phoenix, they can attack through Fey Wishes with it. But, yeah, it's interesting. I think it matters to clock them, but come to think of it, I really am not afraid of getting burned out from 14. I think just in case they have Phoenix, I'm going to hold back. It looks weird because it almost looks like a free attack, but I'm going to hold back for now. Especially because my next turn is not going to be all that interesting. I'm just going to play another Escape to the Wilds. Pretty happy just holding back. Grim-Initiate comes in, sure. Maybe I have Infuriate, but I don't really care if they do. Oh, Embercleave, right. That makes sense. Okay. So this thing is a 2-2. It's hit me. It kills the Fae of Wishes. That's fine. Don't really care too much. All right, I draw my own Fae of Wishes, which is great, but I think I'm just playing Escape to the Wilds first. Even as a 4-power creature, this Grim-Initiate is not actually pressuring me. This Escape could easily find me another Borrower, or a Bonecrusher Giant, or just a Lovestruck Beast to stand in front of it, so I'm just going to throw this down here. And great, we hit a lot of good stuff. I like what I'm seeing. Going to go ahead and go with, let's see. So I have a couple land drops here, which means I can go Forest, and rather than playing the Temple of Mystery out, I have plenty of lands and not afraid of losing lands. I'm instead just going to use Beanstalk Giant. Make sure I've only played 2 islands this game, so I do have more in my deck that I can go fetch. So we're going to Beanstalk Giant, go get an island, and then just borrow the Initiate mid-combat or whatever. Or make sure they don't get an attack with an Embercleave creature. And still don't really see any reason to attack with Brazen Borrower here. Given what I just drew here, I'm just not at all scared of losing, because I'm going to play Great Henge next turn. So I can just afford to wait. That's the thing. Just going to shut off all the ways my opponent could possibly win here. All right, they are coming in, it would seem. Here they come. Just going to go ahead and bounce that one. No Embercleaves for you. Sort of tempting to bounce the Embercleave and tie up all their mana for the turn, but I'd rather just not take the damage here. They don't seem to have a lot going on with this hand, given what they played out the last few turns. Okay. So we hit Lovestruck Beast. We have access to 11 mana with this island, which lets me go for Lovestruck Beast plus Great Henge. I could also go Beanstalk Giant into Great Henge plus Lovestruck Beast Shadow Spear. That seems slightly better, right? That's got to be slightly better. Yeah, let's just play our 11-11. I don't think they're going to beat that one, unless they have like actual Threaten in their deck, which, to be fair, would be pretty funny. If we just got threatened into Embercleave by Beanstalk Giant, then well played, opponent. I did not think about answering that one. And don't especially care about making a 1-1 with this, because I'm just going to be attacking Beanstalk Giant instead. Okay, I guess I should be attacking this Borrower, because now if they have Phoenix, they'll just put Embercleave on and attack me anyway. But it looks like they don't have Threaten, so this game is going to end now. Might as well just attack them to death as fast as possible and put them out of the misery here. We have Flea Vicious for Fling, so the game is going to end this turn, by the way. In case you weren't sure about that. But yeah, it looks like they flooded out quite badly with all those escaped, all those light up the stages just hitting lands for him. So a little bit of a shame, but I think it's just clear that almost every card in this deck interacts pretty well with mono red. This is just a good matchup in general. Yeah, it looks like we're going to at least see a little bit more of the deck here. Are they running Infuriate? Maybe they thought about showing it to us and then decided not to show it to us. Anyway, mono red sideboard plan looks basically the same as last time. Ether Gusts are in. Great Henge is in. Fling is not in. Get out of here, Fling. Escapes are out. Keep Shadow Spear in. Cut Beanstalk Giants. Beanstalk Giant, of course, was great there, but whether it was Beanstalk Giant or Lovestruck Beast holding the Shadow Spear wouldn't really matter there too much. Arena definitely lagging a little bit. There's a chance I'll restart after this game. And yeah, I think I'm into the Domery's Ambush over Beanstalk Giant plan here. Just maximize the number of interactive spells I have so that turns like 3 and on, I'm just interacting with them every single turn. And hopefully this one gets us back to rank 2, and we have a chance, time for another win or two before the stream's over. And hopefully they'll get a chance to actually play a few more spells this game. We'll have a somewhat more interesting exchange of stuff. Wow, this hand is absurd. Just look at these beautiful lands. I actually need to replace them with the Nyx lands at some point, but just being able to take no damage from the mana base is broken. Lucky Clover is also broken. Everything is awesome. Kind of hoping they play a Runaway Steenkin so I can just kill it. That would be nice. Or if they spend their early turns light up the staging, that's also fine. I'll just play a Clover out. The thing you have to worry about mono red post board is Embereth's Shieldbreaker. That sometimes means it's not right to play Clover on 2. You'd rather just interact and not risk getting blown up by a Shieldbreaker, but feeling pretty okay about how this is going. So I'm just going to go with... there's some idea of trying to hide the possibility of casting a Bone Crusher Giant, but in case I draw a tap land next turn, I'd rather just play Lucky Clover so I can tap land and double Bone Crusher. Well, Leviathan and Grim Initiate are not the best creatures to be killing with Bone Crusher, but it's still fine. Just as long as they don't have a Shield Breaker, I'm feeling pretty good. Lo and behold, looks like no Shield Breaker. I guess they light up the stage to another 1-drop. They get to Embercleave me. Okay, that one's pretty good. Just gonna... some question about whether I go ahead and pass in case they can Infuriate to save a creature, but if they are going to Infuriate to save a creature, I guess they could also play Legion Warboss or Torbrand. It's interesting. I'm going to pass and then beginning of combat kill some stuff. I think if they Infuriate, I'm at a high enough life total that I still don't care. And I'd rather be able to shut down a Legion Warboss or a Torbrand pre-combat in case that's the kind of thing. Or a Phoenix. You know, anything they might go for here. They definitely didn't play a lot of spells that turn, so I would not be surprised to see Torbrand. Okay, looks like it's not Torbrand. Let's just double stump. And take out Dodger, Footlight Fiend, leave them with without the extra 1/1 off Grim Initiative if we can help it. Double Bone Crusher, probably gonna be the death of them, but who knows? They could have a sneaky post-combat Torbrand they're trying to sneak in. At which point I will double Bone Crusher that one and then Ether Gust something. And this Great Henge is going to be able to come down in a couple turns, probably. Chico the Rainmaker. I haven't had many chances to draw yet. It was resoundingly unimpressive the one time I did. But to be fair, that was mostly because I happened to hit it when I was playing against a Casualties of War deck, and they just casualtied it for free as an artifact, and it didn't do much. I still don't know if it's all that important against mono red, frankly. Okay, this smells like Embercleave. The question is whether I just let them Embercleave and not trade off this Bone Crusher Giant. Problem is if I block Grim Initiate, they just end up with a 1/1 anyway. If they Embercleave me, I fall to 8, which still seems fine because I have Ether Gust double Bone Crusher. I kind of just want to keep this creature in play, honestly, and be able to blow out future attacks. I'm just going to say no blocks. You can cleave me down to 8. It's fine. This may seem like a weird play, but I think it's correct not to give up this board presence because I just have so much interaction next turn. And just looking for lands here. Great, that's a land. That's nice. Not going to play this Henge out yet, but now I'm like one colored source away from being able to play the Henge and interact. For now, I'm just going to click next. At this point, pre-combat, I just get to kill both their creatures, which is kind of cool. I'm going to hold this Bone Crusher back just in case something goes sideways. Let's see. Okay. We're going to make sure we're holding up blue mana here. Good, okay. Double Stomp. Because I have 2 Aether Gust, I'm not going to hold this up for Torbrand anymore. We can deal with Torbrand pretty easily when it comes to that. And opponent just doesn't want to do it anymore. Cool. That happens a lot against Mono Red too. Sometimes you just draw 2 Lovestruck Beast or 2 Bone Crusher Giant. And back to rank 2. What I would really love to see is blue-white control at some point. The games against blue-white control are hilarious with this because they always take forever, and you always get to have like a fun Fae of Wishes endgame, in my experience. So that's what I'm really hoping to see here. Even if blue-white control means I'm probably only playing 1 more match on the stream, because the matches do go forever. Lag's been a little bad, but not too bad. No need to restart Arena just yet. Up against Pointless. Oh, man. I think Pointless might be playing blue-white control, right? That's the perfect username. Hand is pretty nice, pretty nice. The Great Hen showing a little bit of its awkwardness here, and that's not a great card in this hand, but I'm definitely going to keep anything with Clover and lands to cast my spells. It looks like they are not on blue-white control. What a shame. Breeding Pool is interesting. I kind of do want lands with this hand, but our deck plays a lot of lands, and I really want either Lovestruck Beast or Beanstalk Giant more than anything here because of this Great Henge and this Lucky Clover. So I think I'm going to bottom the Breeding Pool. It might seem a little weird since I have this Fae of Wishes in hand, but we play a lot of lands. I think I'm comfortable trying to filter for something a little stronger at this point. It's close play. Okay, is this Temur Reclamation? Not Temur Reclamation. Something with Paradise Druids. That's cool. And that's a Beanstalk Giant. So definitely playing out Lucky Clover this turn. If I draw a 3rd land that's untapped, Beanstalk Giant's going to be absurd. And almost no matter what they do this turn, double Brazen Borrower is going to push them back long enough for me to get the Beanstalk Giant down. The only thing I'm scared of is certainly not Thassa Deep Dwelling. This card is annoying because it untaps Paradise Druid, which I don't love, but it's fine. I'm just going to... Oh, perfect. So now I get to do this, and you finally get to see the Broken Start. It's a 2-drop into a 3-drop. We play 4 copies of both of them, so it's not that rare to see it. What do I want here? Forest or mountain? The Forest Island. Got 2 red sources already, which is pretty much all we ever need, realistically. So I'll just pass the turn here, and if they play like a Cavalier, I just get to borrow their Cavalier and their Thassa. I get to borrow 2 things this turn as if they do pretty much anything. Nissa, who shakes the world. All right, well, now I know who I'm borrowing for sure. Actually, do I? So here I could borrow Paradise Thassa, or I could borrow Paradise Nissa, sorry, and really shut off their mana for next turn, potentially. The other option is to bounce Nissa Thassa just to get the Thassa off the board, but the Thassa's not doing anything threatening at the moment. I wonder if this is like the old Croaky's deck. It might be. What's my next turn going to look like? I can actually just Fae of Wishes for Mystic Repeal and bounce that and get rid of the Thassa permanently, which is probably what I'm going to do. So yeah, I'm just going to bounce the Nissa and the Paradise Druid in response to the land untapping here. It's possible, I guess, that they could recast Paradise Druid, which would be pretty awkward. But the fact that they had to tap the Paradise Druid here feels like a pretty good sign. So we're just going to get rid of all your stuff here, take a little bit of damage, which is fine. Get hit, and it looks like they don't have a land. Cool, love to see it. So that means there's a good chance they don't get to replay Nissa, which is pretty sweet. Now I have the choice of whether I try to play this so I can play Edgewall Innkeeper in addition to Mystic Repeal. I think I'd rather just play the tap land. Playing the Edgewall Innkeeper is not super important right now. It is possible that I want to play Beanstalk Giant next turn, in which case it would be nice to have the Innkeeper in play already. Interesting. But first things first, let's go with Fae of Wishes. Make sure we're grabbing Mystic Repeal for Thassa, plus an Aether Gust in case they replay Nissa. You. Now, Thassa's not that bothersome, but she probably interacts with enough cards in their deck that I'd rather just be able to get rid of her if I can. I could also grab Chandra, which can just tick down on Nissa, but I want to be playing a bunch of other cards next turn, so I'm just going to grab Aether Gust here, it's fine. And Definitely just repeal Thassa while we can. Goodbye. And I think I'm going to Temple here. I think I'll have plenty of mana to Innkeeper stuff next turn anyway, and I would love to get like a double Bone Crusher Giant to kill one of their lands. Definitely gonna pile in the breeding pool, have a land drop for next turn, but rather hit Bone Crushers or Escape the Wilds, that sort of thing. Let's see if they hit a land. Oh, they did, but it was a tap land. No Nissas. That's very good news. Okay, Risen Reef. Sure. That one does not add enough to the board to really bother me. And with Aether Gust, we are firmly in the driver's seat at this point. So, not gonna play Beanstalk Giant, want to hold up an Aether Gust. Just gonna play Innkeeper. Draw some cards with this Fae of Wishes. Bone Crusher Giant would be the nuts here because I could kill their whole board. Brazen Borrower is not bad either. That lets me bounce Nissa again next turn, which is cool. And yeah, I don't necessarily want to play this Clover next because that means Brazen Borrower goes away if it bounces all their stuff. And it'd be nice to be able to hold up in both Aether Gust and Borrower. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sure what to do here. They'll just play Clover, and then if they play Nissa and I Aether Gust the Nissa, their whole turn just accomplishes nothing. So actually, yeah, I'm just going to play the Clover out. We have enough really good draws to hit. I'm just happy having the Clover in play. I have the Aether Gust in hand that they know about. I have the double Borrower they don't know about in case they just try to develop their board in some other way. Pretty comfortable here. Quick check on the chat, see if anybody's been chatting about stuff here. Yeah, Patrick IJ, definitely timing out against blue-white can be a danger. Fortunately, they happen to time out almost as often as you do, so it's often not too bad. Risen Reef is interesting. Do I gust that, or do I just bounce their whole thing? No, I'm just going to gust this Risen Reef, saying no cards for you for now, sorry, opponent. Brazen Borrower and Beanstalk Giant together will be fine to deal with Nissa if it comes to that. Okay, Paradise Druid means I get the possible the triple bounce on Nissa if they try to tap Paradise Druid for her. Interesting. So I could play Beanstalk Giant. Strong risk of just getting a Crowan Ward out of the game, though, if I play Beanstalk Giant, since I assume this is the Croaky Steel deck with the Thossas and stuff. Might just be Bounce Elementals. I guess if they play a Crowan Ward, they're probably not playing Nissa. They could maybe do both those things. Whereas if I just drop Borrower and then... Oh, opponent gave up. Okay, that game was far from over, but sometimes people just see double Clover and see you thinking a lot, and then they give up. Which is fine by me. Alright, maybe they decided to go. That's a shame. That was going to be a really interesting game, but I guess we're back to number 1. I think we were pretty far ahead there. But if they had a Crowan War, it was... Actually, if they had a Crowan War, we were just going to triple Borrow, get the Beanstalk Giant back, so never mind. I think we had that one pretty locked up. Regardless, would still have to face against blue-white control just one time. Just one time blue-white control. None of this Simic ramp stuff. I mean, mono red's fine too, but blue-white control would be really, really cool. And hey, we're back to number 1, which is pretty cool. I like playing on streams as number 1. I feel like I'm just repping Temur Clover, this sweet collection of cards that has almost got me to the Mythic Championship, and maybe can get me pretty far at DreamHack in a couple weeks. Anyone in the chat planning on going to DreamHack Anaheim, by the way? Hey, Tenacious, good to see you on the stream. This is my teammate Tenacious, everybody. Yeah, Patrick LJ, I definitely have been pretty far behind the clock against Blue-White a couple times. Have never timed out. I did once win a game with the last card in my library, which was fun. Yeah, I think once you get some practice, it gets easier. I'm sort of in this position where I just, like, at this point, kind of know what I'm wishing for. Often because there are really only a couple of wish patterns. They have Dreamtrawler in play, they don't have Dreamtrawler in play, and that's kind of what determines what you're doing. iPhone Fan 5, hello again. Good to see you as such a consistent viewer. Right now, riding a 3-game win streak. We unfortunately lost the first match of the stream to break the 20 match streak that I was on, but we're back to number 1. Really hoping to run some blue-white. Yeah. It takes time for sure, and there's often no right answer. Oh, wow. This is one of those hands that's so interesting, because if we're up against mono red, we're so dead. But against anything else, anything kind of... I guess if we're against mono red or green ramp, we're dead. Those decks are fast. Against anything slow, this hand is superb. I'm actually going to keep it. The reason is because I have these Scrylands. There's a pretty good chance that I can find one of my key interactive spells, even though I don't have one yet. My opponent is... Yes! They might be Esper, of course. This hand is also very good against Esper because it's just full of card advantage, but I love seeing that Temple of Enlightenment here. This is going to be great. Beanstalk Giant, in. All I want is mana against the Temple of Enlightenment decks. Just give me the mana and the... Oh, wow. This is probably going to be the last match of the stream, because it's probably going to be a long one. But, oh, wow, we're going to have some fun with this. Let's go. Okay. They're just going to cast Lucky Clover. There's a pretty good chance it just gets bounced immediately by a Tef, but that's fine. They have limited Tef bounces, and we have plenty of Lucky Clovers. Meanwhile, if they don't play a Tef, and I can get our land for Beanstalk Giant... Oh, nope, they always have Tef. Sorry, I forgot that they always have Tef. But that's fine, whatever. As long as we're not getting pressured too hard by an early Dream Trawler, we're in great shape. Doesn't feel like we're going to get pressured too hard by early Dream Trawlers. At this point, I just want lands, like that one. Great. Just want to be hitting my land drops and casting all the spells. And even if they have something like an early Elspeth, Double Bone Crusher keeps that one pretty well in check. So that's fine. Are you just going to Tef immediately again? Banishing Light would be sort of annoying, but that's okay. I'm hitting my land drops. Oh yeah, Birth of Meletus. Birth of Meletus is a card that does absolutely nothing against this deck. Just absolutely nothing, and you love to see it. So now there's the question of try playing the other Clover, or do I Beanstalk Giant right away? I think I'm pretty into Beanstalk Giant. There's some risk that they just cast Dovin's Veto if I try to play Clover. And if they Dovin's Veto my Clover and I can't do anything this turn, I'm going to be miffed. It's not going to hurt that much, but I am going to be miffed. Let's just double Beanstalk. If they Dovin's Veto one of these copies, I just get to play the other Clover anyway, which is cool. All right, they'll let me do this. What do I need right now? We got, I'll take a little bit of blue and a little bit of green here. And then just gonna... So I could either play Clover or I could try to shock the Tef. I don't mind playing Clover at this point, because I've already done a good thing with this turn. Getting vetoed is fine, it just means they have one less Dovin's Veto for Escape to the Wilds. And yeah, this is my turn 4. Opponent might get to play Dream Trawler in turn 6. You may not be surprised to hear, it's not going to matter very much. Pretty much the only thing I can think of them being able to do to even get back in that game at this point would be like a Heliod's Intervention right now, killing both Clovers. That would be pretty good. But of course, one of the Clovers already got me an extra land off the Beanstalk Giant, so they're kind of just 1-for-1ing me, 2-for-2ing me. And nope, they just have more Birth of Meletus. Which is probably fine in the control matchups because it draws you lands. It's fine in the aggro matchups, but it's not do a lot here. Okay, so they're obviously representing Absorb. Which means, of course, that I'm just going to do this. Triple Fae of Wishes. And let's talk a little bit about what you fetch out of your wish board against blue-white. So, a couple of priorities here. We want to be able to apply pressure with something like a Chandra. We want to be able to deal with Dream Trawler with something like a Sorcerer's Spyglass. I'm going to start by just grabbing Sorcerer's Spyglass here. We have Bone Crusher Giant, which can kill a Dream Trawler post-Spyglass, so they're now at a point where they can't tap out for it anymore. There's some question of what else to get here. Storm's Wrath is interesting just because it kills off both of the walls and can like murder a Narset next turn or something, which is kind of cute. I have 2 Escape the Wilds, so I definitely don't want to Escape the Wilds. The question is like, what kind of cheap interactive spell is like a fun one to have here? Mystic Repeal can deal with like an Elspeth Conqueror's Death if they have one later, but I'm not too worried about that. I have nothing in the graveyard, so Once in Future doesn't do a lot. Grab a Turn to Nature, which is like a nice all-purpose card just to kill stuff. Huh. I'm actually kind of down for Storm's Wrath. It looks weird, but I just kind of want to play a spell that it's going to slightly annoy them and still give me room to play other stuff in the turn. It's probably not like a strictly correct choice, but there's like... Yeah, I'm being a little bit cute here. I'll admit that I'm being a little bit cute here. I should probably just be getting Once in Future because I can play it later. Yeah, definitely going to acknowledge that I'm just being cute at this point. They almost certainly have Absorb. Let's just do this. We're gonna get rid of this Tef here before I can draw them another card. We're gonna hit them and hit Tef with the copies. This means they have to... It's very important, by the way, to target, if you think they have a counter, target the thing you care least about hitting first. This way they have to choose between saving their Tef with a counter by countering a copy, or actually getting rid of my Bone Crusher with a counter by countering the original. So we're putting them in a little bit of a spot here. Something to note, by the way, is that it's fine to be throwing away the Bone Crusher here because Chandra means I can actually take out a Dream Trawler in reasonably short order here. If I draw a land, if I don't draw a land, then I'm just going to play Escape the Wilds instead, which is almost certainly going to find me a land plus Bone Crusher or a Borrower to take out the Dream Trawler in combination with Spyglass. Like, Dream Trawler is no longer a real threat. Unless my opponent can like play a very long game, get rid of Spyglass, and then also get rid of Shadow Spear once I fetch that, because that also gets rid of Hexproof on Dream Trawler. So yeah, this is not like a super representative game against blue-white, because we just have the nuts against him, but I mean, I'll take it. This is going to be a fun game to watch. You want to play a Dream Trawler opponent? Play a Dream Trawler. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, I found the old blue-white deck, I think, was still an excellent matchup for Temur Clover, but it was scarier in some respects, just because the old blue-white deck had Gadwick, and they could actually fight you on card advantage sometimes. Okay, so Brazen Borrower is crazy good here. I'm just going to play out Escape the Wilds, I think. So I have the option of just going like Sorceress Spyglass, bounce their whole board, play Escape the Wilds later. I think I'm in a position where I don't care that much if I get hit by Dream Trawler. I think Escape the Wilds has a good chance of hitting a couple of lands for me. They'd have to both be untapped. They could also hit... Let's see. Interesting choice here. I think I'm just going to escape. I don't mind getting hit by Dream Trawler once. That would be fine. Even if they have Absorb, I think I'm still in a pretty safe spot. And look, we hit 2 lands. Okay, that's hit 4 lands, in fact, which is plenty of lands. So we're just going to go you, play Spyglass, make sure we're holding up some blue mana. I mean, we have 3 blue, so we'll always do it, but it's a good habit to be in. Just making sure you're holding up your colors, because you do play a lot of spells in turns sometimes. Gonna see the opponent's hand here. Okay, they're going to give the Dream Trawler Hexproof in response, which is a pretty clean play. That's like an interesting way to go about it for sure. I'm just going to bounce on their upkeep, so I don't think it's going to matter that much because we have so many copies of Brazen Borrower. Double Absorb, Banishing Light, Veto. Wow. Okay, lots of counters. They're a little short on blue mana, though. We just name Dream Trawler, and then in their upkeep, we're just going to bounce their Dream Trawler a couple times. Can't use his abilities, so go ahead and pass to the opponent here. Alright, so they're almost certainly going to counter one of the bounces here. We're just going to go ahead and bounce this, and then we're going to throw 2 bounces at the Trawler, because they can't give it Hexproof. This means there's a very good chance that one of the bounces is going to resolve. In fact, it's certain that it's going to resolve, because they don't have enough blue mana to even counter twice. So hit Dream Trawler. Return from whence he came. Note, of course, that even if we hadn't had the Sorcerer's Spyglass here, just getting to target this thing twice pretty much forces it to not attack this turn, and discard a card if they don't want it to get bounced. So it's not that hard to keep Dream Trawler in check. If they recast it, we now have Chandra to kill it. One good benefit of fetching Chandra out with a Wish early. Okay. So it's going to take a little while for the game to end, but the opponent's pretty hard, been pretty hard locked out of being able to do much. I expect them to probably Banishing Light the Spyglass this turn, and then hold up Absorb for something. But then I just play Chandra. Okay. Showing me the land, makes sense, you gotta hit your land drops. Yep, so I'm not playing Escape the Wilds this turn. I'm just gonna do, let's see. I have access to a 10 mana. So I can go Lovestruck plus Chandra here. Or Lovestruck plus some other 3-drop plus Chandra, which is what I'm gonna do. Heart's Desire. Always make sure after you cast Escape the Wilds that you're looking over here to see which cards you're maybe going to throw away if you don't cast them. Opponent not that interesting in stopping Lovestruck Beast. Okay. Play it again. Attacks through walls nicely. Even attacks through Dream Trawler. I hope my opponent remembers they can't counter Chandra. I guess they're just playing a Chemist's Insight, maybe see if they can hit an Elspeth Conqueror's Death. They might even be running Planar Cleansing, which could be my Spyglass back, but would get rid of a couple Clovers, which is not bad. Well, we got the first Chandra uptick out, and the way the blue-white control games go, this is going to deal like 8 or 9 damage to them over the course of the game, which is one way you kill them without running out of time. Let's do a quick time check, by the way. We're at 24 minutes. Opponent's okay, so we've spent 2 more minutes than the opponent, partly because we've been talking so much, but I still think we're going to be able to clean up this game in a reasonable span of time. Important to remember that we don't have Lucky Clover in play anymore, so we're going to have to deal with the Dream Trawler by other means. I think we'll be alright, though. So first thing we do is just straight up attack into it. With everything. If they block, we just get to Storm's Wrath, and then if they counter Storm's Wrath, I get to resolve Escape the Wilds, which is awesome. They know I have Storm's Wrath. So, yep, they don't block. That seems correct to me. Alright, so question is now what do I do? This is a reasonable time to resolve Clover while they're not going to counter it for sure. I have access to 11 mana at this point. But I might want to hold on to some stuff so I can use Fae of Wishes. Let's see. I think a reasonable plan here is to play... Let's see. So I'm going to play Fae of Wishes for sure. I want to be able to block with this and just get it back to my hand next turn. Probably just going to discard land Storm's Wrath if I do that. And let's, before I forget, we're going to uptick Chandra here. No reason to downtick on the draw. I'd rather not trade 5 loyalty for them discarding a card of their choice. I have access to 8 mana. If I play this land, I have 9 mana. It's possible it's right to discard Lucky Clover at this point and Storm's Wrath and just have the mana instead. I have all the Lucky Clovers I could ever need. And that would let me just cast Beanstalk Giant this turn, which I kind of want to do. Okay, let's do that then. We're going to play Forest, we're going to play Beanstalk Giant, which attacks pretty darn well, especially since they have no walls anymore. If the opponent Wraths next turn, I just get to bring Fae of Wishes back to my hand, which is clean. Yeah, we're just going to wait. Hold Escape the Wilds in hand, we don't need the 3rd Clover. Storm's Wrath was kind of like just whatever, we'll take it. Don't need it for anything, really. Of course, if we got Once at Future earlier, then that turn would have been much more explosive, because we could have done fun things with Once in Future. But it's fine. We're just in a very safe spot here. So my assumption here is we see something like a Dream Trawler attack into a Wrath effect. But that's fine, that kills the Dream Trawler unless it's Time Wipe. And that lets me just keep upticking Chandra. Alright, quick check on chat. Nope, nothing new. Alrighty. Yeah, this game is going to be a little tedious, but hopefully interesting. What's the plan, opponent? Shadow the Sky, no surprises there. Okay, we both draw a nice card. Hey, it's my Mythic Shadow Spear. That would have been a pretty fun one to get next turn. Just to knock out the Sphinx. But wow, Infinite Fae of Wishes is looking pretty good, as is the Chandra just continuing to tick up. This is pretty much the only card. In addition to your regular game plan, this card will deal with blue-white by itself, which is super sweet. Last just triple granted. Plenty of solid cards to grab at this point. Just lots of raw card advantage. Okay, so here's where we get Escape to the Wilds. And Once in Future. And there's no need to get Fling yet. We have this other Fae in hand. So I'm just going to fetch... I can just get Mystic Repeal to deal with Banishing Light. Get back this Sorcerer's Spyglass at some point. That's a nice option to have, so I'll take that. And then I think I'm just going to play some creatures. Let's actually start with Shadow Spear. See if they counter this one, because it can stop Dream Trawler. If they don't counter it, it just makes all my creatures that much better after I cast them, which is nice. Okay, they let that one in. Play Bone Crusher, and we'll just hold Borrower with this double blue until they're the end of their turn. Might as well not give them a good way to spend their mana. They might have Chemisters in sight, but it's fine if they want to do that. Sure. By the way, if you are playing Blue-White Control, don't play this card. Play Thassa's Intervention. Thassa's Intervention is a lot better. Okay, so they can't with Dream Trawler anymore. The only thing that could possibly be a threat would be something really weird, like, I don't know, Elspeth Conquers Death? Not Elspeth Conquers Death, sorry. Kiora Best the Sea God could maybe do something. Planar Cleansing could maybe do something, but the Chandra ticking is just way, way, way too strong at this point. We're leaving up 4 mana, which is a Dovin's Veto and possibly another Dovin's Veto. I'm going to play Brazen Borrower here. Just a way to apply some pressure later if they attack with Trawler. And now I get to do the following. I get to Mystic Repeal, hitting this Banishing Light, threatening to turn off their Dream Trawler. They're going to have to counter this, I think. Oh, okay. Interesting. They do have an Elspeth Conquers Death. That's too bad. Name Dream Trawler there. I guess just down tick the Chandra. We are now at 20 minutes, so plenty of time here. I'm go ahead and equip the Shadow Spear to, I suppose, Brazen Borrower. I have 2 4-power creatures, and it's a little harder for them to target something else with Conqueror's Death. Back for a whole bunch of damage. And if they try to Chemist's Insight at the end of the turn, I'll just cast my Instant Speed once in future. Lots of fun. I could probably force through win this turn, but I'll just lock it up slowly instead. Chemist's Insight, sure. In response, I'm just going to once in future. Getting back. There's not even anything good in here. I'll just take another Escape the Wilds. And Beanstalk Giant's pretty good for deck thinning and also killing them with Fling, so I'll just grab that. Not that it really matters. They're dead to Fling on pretty much anything at this point. Patrick IJ, thoughts on a Negate in the sideboard? I think that would be a pretty reasonable choice. I think that there are a couple of sideboard cards that are like fairly optional. Like Second Great Henge especially comes to mind as something where I'm like, maybe this is fine, maybe it's not necessary. I think you could definitely play a Negate or a Disdainful Stroke or something like that. Negate's probably the best option. It's almost everything you're going to want to counter is going to be a non-creature spell of some kind. But haven't found it super necessary. I think it would be like a fine choice though. That's something I should probably test at some point before I take this to DreamHack. I have maybe very occasionally had chances for like a Negate would have been the best card to fetch. Although I don't think I've had cases where that was happening and I didn't have some other good answer to what my opponent was doing. Yeah. Okay, so Tef's open, can't do much, but my opponent's at 2. Just gonna plus. I guess I'll just go, yeah. So they have Dobin's Veto. I'm just gonna kill him this turn rather than them maybe trying to do some kind of weird like counter my own thing with Absorb because we got Bone Crusher Giant and now I just killed him. Yeah. One nice thing about these matchups is not to forget how many Bone Crusher Giants you have available, whether it's in your deck or in the graveyard to get back with once in future. Because if you can get a couple of Clovers down, Bone Crusher Giants can just kind of kill them anyway. I forget how much damage Chandra did that game. It was probably like, I don't know, 12 or something like that. Okay, post-board things I think got a little better for them because they get Heliod's Intervention and you don't really get much of anything. I've thought about sometimes bringing in the 4th Escaped Wilds over Great Henge because Great Henge can get hit by Banishing Light. It's bad against Narset. It can get hit by Heliod's Intervention. It can get hit by Elspeth Conqueror's Death, all that stuff. But I think having an Escape the Wilds in your deck to wish for is just really good. In your sideboard to wish for, that is. So even though Great Henge is not awesome, I think it's like fine to keep around. It can often cantrip. And sometimes they'll burn early artifact removal on a Clover, and that's nice to have a follow-up. Not sure about Mythic Shadow Spear, but I guess it's fine against Dream Trawler. Like, there's just not that much mono board in, because as you saw that game, we end up wishing for a lot of stuff over the course of most games. We did have a very good start that game, so this next one might be trickier. Boy, this hand is... oh man, the worst. This one is fine. It's not great. I don't love it, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to ditch the... I guess it's just the Breeding Pool. Don't need that much red mana, but might as well throw that one back. So this hand might look terrible, and it's not good, but it's a fine 6. We have like so many adventure creatures that have you a bunch of Edgewell Innkeepers. It's pretty great. All I want to do is find one of them off this scry. Don't really want a 3rd Innkeeper, though. Yeah, this is going to be one where you have to scrap for it a little harder. The fact they can't get rid of Edgewell Innkeeper is pretty good, though. Yikes! Okay, well, I'm going to try the 1st Innkeeper here. Does not get Ether Gusted. I mean, they can just Ether Gust it later. I think I just put Temple of Epiphany down instead of trying to play second Innkeeper. I honestly just really want to hit some adventure creatures and bottom these things that are not adventure creatures. If they have Narset, I'm going to be kind of sad. But if they have an Narset, surely I deserve a Brazen Borrower from here. I guess Bone Crusher Giant just kills Narset too in combination with an Innkeeper attack, so that's fine. Alright, there she is. Yeah, this one's going to be interesting. Oh, they did not. They did not downtick her. That is a smart opponent we got here. Okay. So I'm going to avoid playing out the second Innkeeper just yet because we could easily get shattered. And I would really rather not have both Innkeepers get shattered. But yeah, super awkward start. Not going to be easy to recover from here. Gonna need to draw some spells. Wow. Okay. Sorceress Spyglass is a really funny card to see from them. I guess they just really don't want me to Chandra them down, but this card has like 2 targets in my entire 75, and it is very easy to kill if I'm getting to the stage of the game where I'm playing Chandra anyway. So I don't think I care. I guess I could get Glass Casketed. Probably what they're looking for at this point. Absorb, sure. Alright, another Temple of Mystery. Great. It's going to keep attacking Narset. So she drew them 1 card here and inconvenienced me a little bit. I guess they probably could have predicted that I had more spells to play. Brazen Borrowers, excellent. That is just what I want. Even gets through Narset, which is great. Now, we're still a little soft to Dream Trawler. We do need to find a few more cards before being able to beat Dream Trawler becomes realistic, but I feel okay. We have no Elspeth Calenkar's death targets, which is nice. I can imagine them trying to shatter this one Innkeeper here. But not yet. Okay. So we're just going to swing with Innkeeper again here. Boop. The question is, do I play the second Innkeeper? That is interesting. Not entirely sure about that one. They're just going to absorb it if I do. And I think I'd rather hold it up against absorb here. Yeah, let's just play out the mountain so I can borrow and cast Borrower next turn. But we're just going to end here. They can crack this Omen if they want to. I guess they could Chemister's Insight. But I really think I'm going to find a good time to sneak in this Innkeeper later. So I'd rather not give them the free absorb. So if they play Dream Trawler, I can double bounce, targeting the Spyglass with a main copy of Borrower so it can't be targeted, force them to discard a card, and then cast Borrower, draw a card. It wouldn't be like a good scenario, wouldn't be a good position, but it wouldn't be completely unwinnable. Okay, looks like the opponent's not doing anything too special here. Pretty into just cycling Borrower. Even if they counter it, it's fine. It drew me a card, which was its job. And I would really like to start hitting more adventure creatures so I can actually get some momentum going. Sure. Opponent spends a counter spell on a random 3/1 that drew me a card. I'm okay with that. Yeah. All right, these draws have been horrendous. But we'll eventually get to the part of a deck that has spells in it. And I'm totally okay dropping Lucky Clover right now if they want to counter this with Absorb. Totally in for them trading Absorb for this second Clover that has 0 use for me right now. Dovin's Veto also fine. I'm eventually going to draw some Escape the Wilds, and I'll want to resolve those when the time comes. And going to end because they still have Absorb up. Don't want to get this Innkeeper countered. It's the only thing I have going for me at the moment. No Dream Trawler yet is fantastic news. Great Henge. Yeah, this draw has been horrible. Horrible indeed. I guess the good news is that Great Henge and Innkeeper can kind of punish them for tapping out, but all I can really do here is keep playing lands and eventually get to the part of a deck that has all the spells in it. I think well, the next like 44 cards are like 27 spells or something like that. Oh, Narset is really bad. I don't like that much. Could really use a Bone Crusher Giant here. That would be pretty good. Brazen Bar would be pretty good. Escape the Wilds would be pretty good. Maybe if I could maybe sneak that one through somehow. Oh, Fae of Wishes is great, actually. I love Fae of Wishes here. Okay, so Fae of Wishes is going to do something. I don't know what it's going to do, but it's going to do something. So, let's see. Start with double Fae. And this looks like a reasonable selection of mana to keep up. Okay, so what am I grabbing here? They got Sorceress Spyglass on Chandra right now. I think I'm just going to grab Once in Future, nice instant speed card. That helps me make their mana a little more awkward. And let's see if they're going to counter the second copy. If they counter the second copy, they chose to counter the second copy. Okay, well, that just means I get to now cast Once in Future. Get back Fae of Wishes. Note if they counter the first copy, I could also have just done the same thing, so it's fine. Get back Fae of Wishes, get back... Interesting. Clover versus Borrower, I'm not sure about. I think... Probably Borrower, because I would like to be able to get rid of this Narset. But it's a close call. I could see the second Clover being right there as well. Can't attack into Narset because they have this 1/1. So we're just going to pass. They get 2 cards off this one. But I still think we're in an okay position. The fact that we had a really bad start was compensated for by the fact that they didn't have the only really good card in their deck, which is Dream Trawler. Kanye, hey, sorry I missed you coming in there. Oh, I should change my title, you're right. Twitch, I think, person who asked if this is the best deck in Standard, there's a good chance that it is. There's a good chance that this is the best deck in Standard. I think Wilderness Reclamation is probably the best deck in Standard. Like, it has a much better chance of being the best deck in Standard. But, alright, another Fae of Wishes is pretty clean. Let's just, let's see. Let's think about this turn a little bit first, because we have some choices. So I want to cast Brazen Borrower so I can kill off this Narset and draw a card. I guess I'll just start with Fae. It's pretty safe to do that. See what I grab off of this one. Okay, opponent's throwing more counters at this, which is totally fine. You can have all the counters you want here. Okay, opponent throws all their counters out to get rid of it. That's fine. Am I doing the other one yet? I don't think so. I think I'd probably just be okay casting Brazen Borrower here at some point. Interesting. So I definitely do it on their turn. Do I do it on their upkeep? I think I care that much about doing it on their upkeep. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna pass here. I think I would rather try to make them tap out by casting this Brazen Borrower and threatening them in some way. And then if I do that, I have a better chance of going for like draw land, Fae of Wishes, and to Escape the Wilds. I also do have to pick up my pace of play a little bit because we're at 13 minutes and the opponent is still at 19 over there. So we're not going to time that out. We do have to win this game in a reasonable amount of time. Should be quite plausible. We have a lot of wishes, which is always important. Okay, opponent's just going to hold up and try to lock me down, maybe beat me on time. We'll see. Brazen Borrower coming down. They don't have any instant speed removal, so this has to be countered. They've already gone through a couple of absorbs. We drew a card that kills Narset. Kills Narset twice. This is just not a good position. That's another absorb. Okay. They keep throwing those down. I don't think it matters very much. Okay, we're gonna go for Bone Crusher Giant. We're actually gonna hit them for 2 and kill their token, because that just means attack Narset to death, which is great. You want to counter the copy of Bone Crusher Giant that is killing their token? Nope, they don't. They can't. Okay. Hit this Narset. Yeah, so I'm going to be taking a quick chat break until we've got this game into more of a cleaned up position, I'll say. So now I'm going to play the second Innkeeper, I suppose. I can just draw a bunch of cards off of these. They might have Shadow the Sky, but I think I'm still pretty cool just doing this set of plays, drawing a bunch of cards. Okay, nice. I found a card that draws me some more cards. And I'm just going to cast this right away because it's Divination. No need to try doing the token stuff. Just drawing a bunch of cards looking for Escape the Wild so I can end the game in a flurry of wish spells. And even if the opponent Shadows the Sky here, I get to draw another card off it. Okay, third Fae of Wishes is a pretty good one. Got to assume they Wrath, which is fine. Okay. I wonder what spell they could be holding up right now. Okay, never mind. They're not even going to take the chance that I can do something weird. They're just going to shatter now, and I am here for it. Or, oh wait, no, they had to shatter then because I had 2 Edgewing Keepers in play. All right, that was me being a dummy. Okay, well, time to finally resolve and escape to the wilds, and then we'll be off to the races. What else do I want? So I'll take escape to the wilds. This is why we keep 1 copy in the sideboard, by the way. It's very convenient in situations like this. And I guess I'll grab probably just Chandra, right? Because if I escape into a Brazen Bar, I'll just bounce the Spyglass and the Tef, and that's fine. Cast escape. Hitting a borrower, nice. So now I'm just going to go with, whoops, wrong card. Oh, stop it. Island, Forest, double bounce the things that I can target with this bounce spell, just to inconvenience them for next turn. Goodbye. Quick chat check. Yeah, Protohunt's the fact that Wilderness Reclamation gets beaten by Blue Light Control is something I am very happy about, because it's the only thing that's stopping our worst matchup from being extremely prevalent on the ladder, because I think Temur Reclamation is out and out the most powerful deck that you can be playing, aside from possibly this one. They have different matchup profiles. And Patrick, interesting. I didn't notice when they could have possibly killed my Innkeeper. I think we killed the token before we ever attacked with it, but I might have missed something for sure. Okay, they have Tef. Maybe they even have an Absorb up. Let's see. Start with this Clover, because it's going to make the rest of my turn real nice. Let's play that out. Okay, that one resolves. Let's just go get some more lands out of the deck while we still have basics to go fetch. And of course, make sure that we're actually casting all the spells out of exile here. So we'll start with Crusher Giant. We're just going to murder the Tef. Nothing fancy. It's not really bothering us, but I'd like to get rid of it anyway. Oh, I have this Lovestruck Beast over here, which hasn't been adventured yet, so I need to use this one. Take some tokens. And then I'll play this out, and I will hold up Brazen Borrower in case the opponent can shatter next turn, so I can put a little more pressure on them. That's a pretty important thing to note against Blue-White Control, is if you think they're going to Wrath, it's really nice to be able to hold a Brazen Borrower in reserve. Okay. 8, another counter. That's fine. Let's play this out, and I'm still just going to hold up Borrower here. I don't think they're going to Wrath 2 tokens, but if they want to spend a counter spell on a Borrower, that's fine. I will note that if they had if they were able to somehow stop me from killing their Spyglass, like if they were able to save a counter for Return to Nature, that could be kind of annoying, because having Chandra available really is nice. Okay, we're in the cast Elspeth Conquers Death with no target stage of the game. That's one of my favorites. I like that they countered the Lovestruck Beast when they just had this Elspeth Conquers Death in hand with no targets. That's probably not the right move. All right, let's go see what we can, what nonsense we can get up to here. So, interesting. I'll start by attacking because it's free, and then I'll think about the rest of the turn after that. I think I just want to get Chandra going at this point. Now they've cast Elspeth Conquers Death, I feel like Chandra is maybe less threatened than it would have been otherwise. So we're not going to worry too much about getting all the most important spells for the game out of the deck just yet, because I have the ability to bring Fae back to my hand pretty easily. I'm just going to get the stuff I can use now. So Elspeth Conquers Death is kind of inconvenient. I would just rather get rid of it and not have to think about it anymore. And then they don't seem to have any actual counters, so we're holding up 2 red, killing Spyglass. And then just playing Chandra and getting that clock ticking on them. This forces them to have removal for Chandra next turn, probably. And if they do remove Chandra, they're probably not going to be able to stop me from attacking them with a Wrath. So just like adding up more threats than they can really deal with, because they don't have that much card advantage in their deck. Because they really don't do much Gadwicking anymore. And do I do the other Lovestruck Beast? I'm not going to do that yet, because I do want to have one source of 1/1s available, in case they can Wrath the board now. Probably won't matter, but it's nice just to be able to respectively present more and more threats to them here. Okay, they had the second Elspeth Conqueror's Death. Respect. That's a dead Chandra. But we got the uptick, which is what matters. Now, okay, let's just play out Beanstalk Giant into Great Henge at this point. Henge while the henging is good, and then draw some cards off it. Innkeeper's nice. It's gonna let me have a full hand here. And now, even if the opponent does Wrath, I just get Fae back to my hand, and then Fae can go get a little more stuff to finish off the game. Because we're getting to the point where flinging any creature will be lethal pretty fast. Okay, quick chat check here. Patrick, yeah, probably they were afraid of something like Escape the Wilds there. That might have been even the reason I attacked with Innkeeper, was to see if they were going to tap that castle and let me do some stuff to them. Okay, so opponent knows they need a Wrath here. They're just going to use Castle of Ventress. Makes sense. I currently have 22 cards in my deck, and I think a couple of those are Bone Crusher Giants, so we should have plenty of damage to finish off the game. Great Henge is going to let me draw through my deck pretty easily at this point. And do they find the Wrath? Let's see. Nope. Okay. And that was Blue Eye Control, everybody. All right. And that was a pretty long one, so I think now that we're number one, we beat Mono Red twice, beat some kind of Elemental Ramp deck, and beat Blue Eye Control. Gonna call it a night. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Glad we could get a bunch of folks in for the stream here. I guess I'll spend a few minutes. Let me just open up the deck list so folks can see it on screen easily and see what I'm working with. I remain pretty unconvinced by Shadow Spear over Incubation. I think I want to test it a little bit more because I do have a tournament coming up where it matters to try different things. But the Shadow Spear Incubation question aside, I am super happy with this list. I've been very happy with the sideboard. I think if you were going to change anything about this deck, it's possible that the second Great Henge in the sideboard could be something else. I don't think it's that necessary. You don't end up wishing for it that often. Because usually, if you have big creatures in play and you're wishing freely, you can find other ways to win. So this could be like Expansion Explosion, it could be Negate, just a variety of other utility options you could find. Yeah, this deck has been just totally sweet on ladder. I think my win rate with it is something like, let me actually link to this real quick so folks can kind of check out stuff for themselves. But I'm just going to link quickly to my untapped.gg profile. Untapped.gg is not a sponsor of the stream, and it couldn't be because I don't do sponsors. I don't stream often enough for that. But it is a really good app that you can use to track all your arena matches. It also helps to build metagame data for the whole community because Wizards isn't too interested in helping us with that right now. So would definitely recommend that everybody who plays Arena try out untapped.gg, record your matches, see what's actually working, see what's actually winning. Sometimes it can feel like a deck is great when it's bad, or vice versa. Only the match data can tell you for sure. Yeah, about to just post up my Temur Clover stuff for this season, so it's easy to see kind of how it's doing in the Theros stuff. Just gonna let it load a bit. Any questions in the meantime? All right, internet's lagging a little bit here. Let me just going to copy the link. So I'm going to send a link that is not going to. Oh, hold on, came back. All right, cool. All right, let me just grab it from Reddit. Actually, that'll be faster, I think. All right, match record stats coming right up here. Okay, quick announcement also to the folks watching the stream. Some of you might have heard this already, but if you ever want to play Temur Clover and you want to record your gameplay or take screenshots of situations that you find yourself in, anything like that, I would be very happy to provide commentary on anything you send me, try to answer questions. I like this deck a lot. I would love to see more people playing it and trying it out and learning more about it, trying new things, maybe teaching me some stuff, but for testing. And so if you ever want feedback on any kind of gameplay stuff, hit me up. I would enjoy it. Be very happy to do it. Patrick IJ, yeah, the old mana base. I don't remember if it had Fabled Passage or not. I'm kind of off Fabled Passage. I just feel like this deck is... It's a deck where you want like a little bit of everything to have a really good game most of the time. And because you kind of have this like dual nature where some of your cards are like cheap and interactive and some of them are expensive and clunky, you really want to be able to get a good mix of those in a lot of the time. And Scrylands help with that a lot. I think Fabled Passage being a tap land all 3 of the first turns of the game is pretty awkward too. Like, the first 3 turns of the game are by far the most important for actually hitting your curve and casting stuff. A lot of the time. And Scrylands just like can help you look for untapped lands. Fabled Passage just I found to be quite a bit worse. This could be bias. It could be because Fabled Passage like messed me up a few times during the MCQ. But I like Scrylands a lot and would recommend the current mana base as well. Red Noisy Squirrel. They did fix Fae. It only took a few hours, but it felt like an eternity. I was so worried. There was a match where I was playing earlier this day on my lunch break and tried to wish for something and nothing happened. I'm like, well, this game just went from good to not so good because I had 2 more Fae of Wishes in my hand at the time. That was rough. Let's make a quick note that this is Patrick IJ, sorry. Oh, because of the Fae thing, Patrick? That sucks. I sure hope you get reimbursed for that. That is just terrible. I know that Fae is not the most popular card, but even so, that was I am impressed with how fast they fixed it though. On Magic Online, that might have taken potentially weeks or something. All right, so give everybody a few minutes to ask questions if they wanted to. I think I'm going to sign off for the night. Thanks everybody for joining the stream. It's been a real pleasure to have y'all. Sorry if I missed any follows or anything like that. Was just very zoned in, especially during that last match because I was under a little bit of time pressure. But it's been just an incredible pleasure. Remember, if you would like to see future streams with Temur Clover or whatever other decks I'm managing to hit good ranks with, please do follow the stream. Would love to see you in here again. And there's a good chance that I'm going to be streaming more often in the future since I finally figured out a setup that I like and I have a deck that I like. And yeah, just go ahead and follow if you would like to do that. And